U.S. government surveillance of citizens. Is it ethical or not? Should the government have any sort of ability to spy on citizens or monitor them? Let's talk about the ethical standards. So, a lot of Americans may agree that an ethical standard is that any citizen in the United States or anyone taking refuge in the United States should not have malicious intent towards it. They should not want to harm the United States. Another ethical standard should be that all citizens must be able to be willing to lose a bit of privacy to prevent a catastrophic attack on the United States. This can be correlated to ACM ethics, which says that public good is always its primary consideration. So, in the case of surveillance, public health is trying to be its number one. And Kant ethics, which is also known as deontology, which states that an action is good based on a set of rules. So in this case, we have two rules that are said that citizens must be able to willing to give up a bit of privacy, and that no one in the United States should want to harm the United States. Let's test this by introducing this man. To anyone, he may seem like a very normal person. He seems fine. However, he's not. His name is Timmy Anderson. He's 23 years of age, and as of right now, he's an attacker. He wants to attack the United States. He wants to harm it, which is breaking one of deontology, which is breaking one of our rules. So his actions are not ethical and they're bad. However, he's also having conversations with an accomplice. He's buying guns online, searching up schools that he could attack, and he's doing a whole bunch of not ethical things. As his plan continues, the FBI notices that his search history is very suspicious. He's planning on doing certain things that are going to be malicious, so they began surveillancing him. As the investigation for the FBI continues, they want to know more who his accomplice is, because at this point they know that he's not a good person and he's planning something. But they want to know more. They want to know when the attack is. They want to know whose accomplice is, what guns he has, everything that they can get on him. So with that being said, the FBI plants spyware on his computer to be able to track everything he does. With the spyware being on his computer, the accomplice gets identified. They are able to see which school he's going to attack. They see his plan of entry, the date of it, everything. And the accomplice's name is Andy Rivera. He's 23 years of age also, and he's the accomplice. The FBI was also able to have a photo of the man, which is what you're seeing right now. And as the plan continued, the FBI had enough information now to go raid both of the people's houses, to arrest them and take them into custody, so that they won't be a harm to any school or anyone. So as stated, they did exactly that. That's Timmy, he's arrested. That's Andy, he's arrested. Both of them are arrested, and the threat is 100% terminated now. However, what would have happened if there was no surveillance, if the FBI or any sort of organization had no idea this was coming but them? So both Timmy and Andy would have entered the school, they would have attacked the school, and a bunch of lives would have been lost. The teachers would have potentially the teachers would have died. Many students would have been died. Many would have been injured. This would have also made the United States security look a little more authoritative. It would have diminished, as well as the United States would have seemed more vulnerable to another potential attack because of how easy it was for these men to get inside of the school and start killing a whole bunch of people. This begs the question now: that is government surveillance ethical? And the argument for government surveillance states that the the need for privacy does not outweigh the possibility to stop an attack, meaning that stopping an attack, having the potential to stop an attack and saving a bunch of lives is much more. Uh, it weighs more than having full privacy for its citizens. This begs the question of the history of surveillance and when it started. The FBI was founded in July 26, 1908. At this point, there was not much surveillance happening, but there was still a little bit. Moving forward to 2001, when 9/11 happened, when the U.S. got attacked, the government signed the U.S. Patriot Act, which basically said that any needs for a terrorist organization to be stopped will be taken, and that means like invading privacy or taking away some rights. Uh, yeah, so um, is government surveillance on citizens not ethical? The argument here states that because the United States lives on a innocent until proven guilty court system, if we give up our some of our privacy, we will be guilty until proven innocent. In this case of Timmy and Andy, they both were guilty already to the FBI because of their history, their talks with each other, their buying of guns and illegal stuff because they don't have permits, and so they were already guilty. But according to the non-ethical side, it will be they're already guilty until proven innocent, which violates our court system, which is innocent until proven guilty. The types of surveillance we have today are wiretapping, which is basically, let's say two people are talking on the phone with each other. They both are suspects in some type of crime. The FBI is able to intercept the call without them between two parties not knowing that this is even happening, and the FBI is able to listen in, see what they're talking about, see if they're planning another attack or some sort. And yeah, so we also have something called Matrix, which is multi-state anti-terrorism information exchange, which basically states that, which basically holds a database of all companies that are making a bunch of profits of their businesses or whatever the case may be, and it cross-references it with millions of different files of illegal activity, terrorist activity, criminals or whatever, and seeing if they match up. If they match up, they will be taken into custody and further action will be taken. Uh, the most prevalent form is Trojans, which is basically a computer virus that is implanted onto computers that the FBI or anyone thinks that is very like suspicious in activity. And basically what Trojans do is that they are able to keylog you, which means that any key you enter on a keyboard will be tracked. They are able to turn on your camera at any time. They're able to turn on your microphone at any time. Your image, your screen will be recorded, given back to the FBI or anyone that implanted the Trojan, and etc. Potential attacks that have been stopped already. A 15-year-old boy by the name of Josh G went to a high school, and for some reason he was planning on an attack with a bombing attack on his high school. However, because of FBI surveillance, the Josh was found and he was taken into custody, and he pleaded guilty to all of his threats. Another attack was prevented when someone wanted to use remote-controlled aircrafts planted with a whole bunch of explosives to attack the United States Capitol, so the Pentagon, all of that. And let's take a look here at this clip to see how the FBI was able to stop him.
The FBI says that it's been running a sting operation against an aspiring terrorist who intended to fly model planes with explosives into Washington landmarks. An attack like that would likely not do a great deal of damage, but federal prosecutors say that the man, an American from Massachusetts, was determined to wage war on American soil. Bob Orr has been talking to his sources and has learned details of the plot and the sting. Bob?
Scott, U.S. officials tell us the suspect was deadly serious about his plans to attack the U.S. Capitol and the Pentagon with remote-controlled airplanes filled with explosives. But the plot had no chance of succeeding. 26-year-old Rezwan Furtis went by the name Bollywood when he played in a Massachusetts band. But U.S. officials say the drummer is also a self-radicalized jihadist intent on attacking Americans in the U.S. and overseas. Furtis was arrested this morning and now faces charges of plotting attacks and supporting a foreign terrorist organization. Furtis was arrested after he bought what he believed to be 25 pounds of plastic explosives, 3 grenades, and 6 automatic assault rifles from undercover FBI agents posing as al-Qaeda operatives. Over the past 9 months, agents recorded multiple conversations in which Furtis laid out plans for an aerial attack.
So, as we could see here, that the FBI was monitoring this man. They wiretapped his phones. And he was talking to his accomplice or whoever he was talking to about his plan of attack. And because of this, the FBI were able to take him in. Moving on to the conclusion. Overall, both points, ethical and unethical, are very legitimate. They both have very strong arguments. The unethical side states that it is the system will turn into guilty until proven innocent if we give up some of our rights. Uh, but the ethical side states that it will be more of a national security issue because the potential to stop an attack means that giving up a little bit of privacy, like they don't balance each other. Stopping an attack is much more heavy than having full privacy. Um, yeah. So this in this case, Timmy and Andy, they violated both deontology because they violated our rules, and the FBI used the FBI was in a state of ACM ethics because they were putting the public health ahead of everything, and they were able to be taken into custody and no further action.